Hi there, it's Sam from Pootles.co.uk. Thank you very much for joining me today and for joining me in Springwatch. If you're not sure what that is, hold fire, it's brilliant. 14 days of video projects coming out to you back to back for 2 full weeks, all focusing on the Spring Summer catalogue and Celebration. And this is today's project. I'm calling it a BonBon box. It's not at all, because it's much bigger than that and it doesn't have a little end on it, but it is all held together like that. We've got a really nice smooth finish here, and it's stamped all over. So I used Morning Star, and I was inspired actually because I was sent a card by our regional sales director to congratulate me on my achievements in the Stampin' Up year, and it had this one on it with this background, and I thought, oh, I love that. Which stamp set is that? I didn't realise which one it was, so I immediately went and ordered it. So this one, you can see I've stamped it with this star, this one and these little ones. I'm going to go a bit more floral on this one because I'm working with pink. So I've got Blushing Bride here. You need a piece of cardstock that is 8 by 11 inches. If you are metric and you work in international A4 cardstock, oh focus, leave it at the full 29.7 centimetres, but trim it down to 20. So you need the length, and that's because of the measurements and the scoring marks. Okay, so we've got these, so there is a star shape here, and these will stamp out with our dies, with our star dies, but I'm going with those ones. Where's Mother Flower? That one. So I'm going to come in with the stars first. Need a bigger one. There we go. And my lovely lipstick. Get those on and out the way for the minute. So I'm just literally going to randomly stamp all over. This one is going to look less like stars and more like whimsical sort of florally swirls everywhere. But I wanted to show you that you can use one stamp set and get a couple of completely different looks, just by changing the colour as much as anything. Okay, and then I'm going to come in with these ones. I don't know how much, I don't know if I'm going to get any kind of a different look. Let's get that positioned on better. No, I think it's a gap filler as much as anything. That's okay. We have got gaps that need filling. I wonder how many else of you, like me, missed this one in the catalogue though. And then this last one, like I say, just to fill gaps more than anything. It's like making your own DSP. For those unfamiliar with the term DSP, it stands for Designer Series Paper, which is our name for patterned paper. I think that's good. Isn't that lovely? Very pretty. And yeah, highly detailed as well. So they're kind of distinctive stamps, which is brilliant because you can do all sorts with distinctive stamps. They make very detailed images. Okay, so 8 by 11. It's nowhere near as complicated as it looks like it's going to be. It's super easy. Okay, on the long side, so this is for Imperial folk, score it 2.5, 5, 7.5 and 10 inches. If you're metric, because you've got a longer piece, 7, 14, 21 and 28, and then you've got that full almost 2 centimetres. We're going to keep it on this side, mark it at 1 1/4, 3 3/4, 6 1/4 and 8 3/4. And again, if you're metric, 3.5, 10, 17.5 and 24.5. Then turn it over and repeat exactly the same. 1 1/4, 3 3/4, 6 1/4, 8 3/4. So there's just little marks which you can see, and they're going to be at both ends. Now you're going to need a ruler or something long and straight. Put this up at the 2-inch mark and make sure it is straight. So at the 2-inch mark, and then again just make a mark, but you're doing it where I've scored vertically there. You're marking on that score line all the way along. Whoops. So that's you're bringing your ruler down to 2 inches, so down to 5 centimetres, and you can see, let me find one that you can see. There's a little mark there, So you do that there, and again bring it down to the 6-inch mark. So that would be 15 centimetres at this point. If you're working off a trimmer, actually, it might be easier on there because you've got the measurements on the vertical ruler. I didn't kind of think about that. So again, I've put marks in, which hopefully you can see all the way along. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to join that line, that mark, to the mark here, and that one to there, and it will become clearer once I've done it, assuming I can see everything. So if I go in one direction first, you can see what I'm beginning to do. Possibly see it better on the other side. And I'm going to come back in and do the rest. So this is not complicated, but it takes a little longer because of all of the additional scoring. And I tend to go in one direction first, excuse me, and then the other one, just so I don't have to keep moving the cardstock around. Okay, so that is all done, but there's one more which I think you can probably see better there. There you go. Now, we do have to do this bit, and this section from here to here is 1 1/4 inch, but my tab here is only 1 inch. So what you need to do is line up your grid paper. So I don't know if you can see down at the bottom. So I've lined it up. Let me shift it up for a second. So I'm lining it up to the 11-inch mark. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to score off the card. So I'm imagining that this point here, 11 1/4, would be, if my cardstock went that long, it would be there. And again, if you're, working in metric, you're going to do the same there. And then I'm going to follow this line here at the top and assume that that would be where, if this was a full 1 1/4, that would be where I would be scoring off there. Okay, let me get that back in position. And that is so that when I come to fold it all together, it will fold perfectly. Okay, so let's build this. You're going to love it. You're going to love how it pulls together. Okay, so the way this works is that these vertical bits fold in. Okay, so the vertical lines fold in all the way along. Okay, so just keep pulling them in all the way, and you do want to get it started before you pull the box together. So all those vertical lines have folded in. Same top and bottom. Okay, and now this bit where I scored off, you will see that it fits perfectly underneath. So that's the tab that I'm going to put adhesive along, but because I set those score lines absolutely spot on, it fits perfectly there. Right, next thing to do, grab a handheld punch. Mine was right here. What did I do with that? Sam is losing the plot. I put it away somewhere else. That's okay. That's kind of normal. Can't reach it. There we go. Right, so I'm going to put some holes in, and you're looking for the peak of the triangle. And pop a little hole in all of them. Oops. So all the way along and on both sides. Obviously not that final one. Okay, now we'll get some glue going. My tear and tape. All the way along there. And I'm going to go for 2, just because this is a 1-inch thick tab. I felt it needed more oomph on that closure on that side. So a double layer made it possible. And this is so easy. It's completely flat, and you could store it flat like that before you were ready to put it together, but we'll put it together now. So I've got, because I stamped lovely lipstick, I'm coming in with lovely lipstick, the thin grosgrain ribbon, and I'm looking for my seams. So that's the back, these ones are going to be the front, so it's just stitching really, in, out, in, out. Okay, and remember the vertical ones went in, so pop those in. And when you pull, oops, tra-la. I get so easily excited about stuff. That's okay, you don't mind, do you? So, and it will hold itself together with this kind of ribbon. If you were going to go with a very slippery ribbon, it would pull itself, but grosgrain, it's got a sort of a ridge to it. So that's one end done. And we're just going to do exactly the same with the other end, but this is probably at the point you'd put your treats inside it. Actually, it looks quite cool on the inside. I wonder what it would look like if I went out. But I'm not going to try that now. So again, whoopsie, just stitching. And at least when you gift this to somebody, they don't need to shred the box to get into it. And again, you just, it's the vertical ones you're pushing in. Oops. Got my ribbon in the way there. Pulled a bit too hard on that ribbon, but that with the bow tied. I think those are such cute boxes. And I'm really pleased with those. I'm really pleased how they came together. I've been looking on Pinterest. I keep an eye on Pinterest all of the time to see if there are things to inspire me. And I was looking on it with my son who's doing product design, and he was looking at some of these quirky packages for like bottles of wine and stuff. And I saw, it wasn't like this, it finished differently. It had lids and stuff and closures and stuff, but I actually really liked the shape. And I thought, how can I make that? So I did. I love it. I hope you do too. Thank you ever so much for joining me. A couple more projects before the end of Springwatch. Celebration goes on to the end of March. Anyway, thank you ever so much for joining me. Hope to speak to you soon. Bye.